Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 1 of the 2018 NFL season. Well, anyway, first game I want to talk about, I'm going to take Philadelphia at home against Atlanta. I know Philadelphia hasn't looked exactly overly impressive during the preseason. Carson Wentz will not be starting game 1. It's going to be Nick Foles. I think they're going to get it together. They're also a very formidable home team, being 13-3 at home over the past 2 seasons. Atlanta is still a team to be reckoned with. They might be a little bit short of that team that had been in the Super Bowl just like 2 seasons ago. They do have Matt Ryan, of course, at quarterback, Julio Jones, a lethal weapon as receiver. I think he only had 3 touchdown receptions last season. He wants to redeem himself. Atlanta will be seeking retribution after the loss to Philadelphia in the postseason last year, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Philadelphia's defense gets it done, and I do like the Eagles to win at home. Next game. Next game, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road to prevail over the Cleveland Browns. I know, don't be flabbergasted or be in a state of shock, people. The Steelers, last season, they led the NFL with defensive sacks, 56. They have dominated this series in recent time against the Browns. They have won 10 of the last 11 versus them, and 6 straight against them. And also, keep in mind, this could actually be a little tighter game than a lot of people may think. They have the last 3 games were decided by 4 points or less. Now, Cleveland has a little bit of a new look. Granted, they may be a little bit better this season. They added Jarvis Landry at receiver and added quarterback Tyrod Taylor, a revamped offense. It may equate to being a little better than they were last season. They may give Pittsburgh all they can handle. I think this may actually be a competitive game. They got to improve in their turnovers, though. Last season, they were like minus 28 in turnover differential. They could keep that down in this game. They have a shot. I still like the Steelers to win in a close one. Anyway, next game, I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts at home to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Indianapolis, quarterback Andrew Luck, I mean, his status is a little bit speculative. I'm going to go with him with the probability of starting. Indianapolis, despite recent struggles, they have been 7-9 at home over the last 2 seasons. Cincinnati, though, is 5-11 on the road in that same time span for during the last 2 seasons. The Bengals may be on decline. Now, they did add linebacker Preston Brown to help them out this season. He had 144 tackles, one of the league leaders in tackles in the NFL. Indianapolis, though, they're weak. One of their very weak spots on them. They allowed 56 sacks in 2017. They give Andrew Luck, assuming Andrew Luck is quarterback in this game, they give him the good protection. Being at home, I think they will be revived with Andrew Luck's presence, as they'll be rejuvenated. I like the Colts to win at home. Anyway, next game. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win on the road over the Miami Dolphins. Tennessee Titans, I mean, in this series with the Titans and the Dolphins, they flip-flopped the last 6. Titans lost the last one. So I'm going to go with the Titans. I think they're due to win this one. And Titans usually do beat the teams that they actually should beat. In most cases, Mariota, he plays and he's going to be there. He will, I do believe he will guide the team to victory. They usually do very well on average when he does play. And they also added quarterback Malcolm Butler to the team, which will help their secondary. They are, you look at Miami now. Miami did lose a number of players, including Ndamukong Suh. The quarterback Ryan Tannehill will return in this one. They also added wide receiver Danny Amendola. I don't think, but they lost Ajayi, the running back from last season, and he was one of the really a very premier running back. I think there's going to be, there's just really, as far as a personnel standpoint, I just don't think Miami has enough to defeat the Titans. So I'm going to go with the Titans to win this one. It'll be a close game, I think, but I do like the Titans on the road. Next game. Well, this actually could be a very close game. I'm going to take Minnesota to prevail at home over the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Minnesota, they did add quarterback Kirk Cousins to the team. I think he's going to be a very good fit for them with wide receiver Diggs. They will be. I think it's going to be a lot of good cohesion and chemistry on that offensive unit. Minnesota is 12-4 at home over the last 2 seasons. They also were the #1 total and scoring defense in 2017. With that exception of that really bad game they had against the Eagles, the Minnesota defense was very consistent throughout 2017. San Francisco could very well be a very upstart team and maybe a surprise this season. As many of you know, they did win their final 5 games last season. I mean, quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is very, unflappable, I think, to say the least. 7-0 as a starter all time. And, I mean, he did guide them to 5 straight wins at the end of last season. San Francisco may likely make the postseason. I could see them getting as a wild card. I think they can make this game close. But I do think San Francisco's streak comes to an end. I think Garoppolo does get his first loss in his career. I do like Minnesota to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the New England Patriots to win at home against the Houston Texans. New England, all-time at home against Houston, 6-0. And they're also 21-3 in the conference games in the last 2 seasons, and 9-1 overall all-time against Houston. You look at Houston, okay, they're going to be a little bit revived and rejuvenated. I mean, I know defensive end J.J. Watt is coming back. Quarterback Deshaun Watson will be back. It could be a season for him where he will really flourish and shine. Linebacker Whitney Mercilus will return. So Houston has a shot to make the postseason. They can make this game actually very close. I believe they had a very competitive game against New England the last time they played them. But the way I look at it is that New England, many of you may remember, they lost that opening game to Kansas City last season. I don't think they're going to let history repeat itself. I don't see any complacency. I do believe they will pull out this win. And Max Kellerman will likely be proved wrong because Tom Brady certainly doesn't look like he's going to fall off the cliff. I don't think we really need to be much of a medium or a prophet to really predict that. I expect Tom Brady to have a very good season, and numbers comparable to last season. It might be about 95% of what he had last season, but it will be very close to the numbers he had. So Patriots do win this one. That's my pick. So anyway, next game. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to win at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints, they have quarterback Drew Brees, of course. They may actually have a running game. Their offensive line, I think, will give them good protection in this game. Now, you look at Tampa Bay, quarterback Jameis Winston will not be played. Many of you may know he has been suspended, and there's not even a guarantee he's going to play in 4 games. He's been suspended for 3. Tampa Bay last season, they didn't exactly finish on a flourish. They were 1-5 in their final 6. They were also last in defensive sacks in 2017 with 22. I don't think the Saints are going to have much of a problem with this game being at home. I do like New Orleans to prevail in this one at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win on the road against the New York Giants. Now, when you look at Jacksonville, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They were number 2 in sacks in 2017. Now, they also, looking at them in total D, they were number 2. Now, many of you may know that quarterback Jalen Ramsey made some inflammatory statements regarding other quarterbacks in the NFL, and including Eli Manning. He basically intimated that Eli Manning was either mediocre or below mediocre. It was all about Odell Beckham Jr. on that team. Now, as far as Eli Manning goes, he strikes me as someone very disciplined. He took the higher road. He didn't even respond to that. He didn't have any comments to address to Jalen Ramsey. I think we're going to see a lot in this game as to whether Eli Manning is bouncing back this season or not. I do believe it'll be a season of redemption for him. I think the Giants are going to give all they have. They're really going to make this a competitive game. Running back Saquon Barkley will make his regular season debut. The Giants were number 29 in time of possession in 2017. I do hope that will improve for them. The Giants, their offense was anemic last season. I do believe, in this particular game, they've gone like 33 straight games without hitting 30 points. It'll probably be like 34 after this game. But I do like the Giants to make this very close in this one. Their offense is revamped. Odell Beckham Jr. will return. But that being said, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to be too much for the G-men to handle. I like Jacksonville in a close one. Next game. Well, next game, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win at home over the Buffalo Bills. Now, Baltimore added wide receiver Michael Crabtree. Now, I don't know if that ravenous defense is going to be there for them or not, but they will. They are still, they're a very solid team. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender. I know they played very well during the preseason, like 5-0. Flawless record. Last season, they were plus 17 in turnover differentials. So, I do see them winning the turnover battle in this game, ultimately winning the game. Now, Buffalo's team was dismantled. They lost linebacker Preston Brown. Preston Brown was one of the leaders in tackles in the NFL. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor is gone. We're going to see if a lot of their Buffalo's success in this game could be predicated on their rushing offense. I think Baltimore's run defense will be enough to at least contain that, and I do like Baltimore to come out on top in this one. Next game, I'm going to take the LA Chargers to win at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. I understand Kansas City has dominated the Chargers in recent time. They've won 8 consecutive games against them, but the Chargers did go on a roll last season. They won 6 of their final 7 games. Some people think they actually are going to win the division this season. They very well may. This is a team got a very good offense under Phillip Rivers. You look at Kansas City, they're in their quarterback transition. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if he can outduel Phillip Rivers in this game. You look at Kansas City, too. They've had some road woes in recent time. They're 1-4 in their last 5 road games. Now, they have dominated the series in recent time against the Chargers, winning 8 consecutive. But at some point, a streak's got to come to an end. The Chargers will, this is their opening day of the season for them. It's a home game. They have the personnel to win this division. I think they can win this game. So I'm going to take the Chargers to win at home. Next game. Well, this game, I'm going to take Denver to win at home over Denver Broncos at home to win over the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Denver, their defense was a little bit paradoxical last season. They were number 3 in total defense, but they were giving up like 23 point-something points per game. A lot of it, I think, was attributed to the fact I believe they commit a lot of turnovers deep in their own territory. And what would happen is the opponent would get their starting field position very deep in Broncos territory, so other teams were able to score easily against Denver, even if it was a lot of field goals. You look at them also as well. You look at Seattle, and this is a team that was basically their defense is dismantled. Cornerback Richard Sherman is gone. One of the better defensive people, I believe, in the NFL. The defense is likely going to be declined. This is not a team really I see as a perennial playoff contender anymore. Russell Wilson is going to have to do a lot in this game and probably a much better than average performance in order to have this team emerged victorious over Denver. I think Denver's defense right now, I think that is going to be the key, and I think it's going to contain Seattle's offense. So I do like Denver to win this one at home. Now, this game was kind of tough for me to decide. I'm going to take Arizona at home to beat the Washington Redskins. Arizona running back David Johnson will return in this one. Hopefully he will play for the full season for them. You look at Washington last season, they were number 32 as far as their run defense went. So their run defense was abysmal last season. They've also lost Kirk Cousins, but they've added Adrian Peterson. I look at this team, I think what it's going to come down to, you look at Arizona with the cornerbacks and the secondary, I think it's going to neutralize the receiving core of Washington. And I think that will be enough, I think, for them to win this game. And I think their running game for Arizona is going to overpower the run defense for the Redskins. And Arizona is at home, so I do like Arizona to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to win at home over the Dallas Cowboys. This game could very well be a barn burner. Tight end Greg Olsen, you have quarterback Cam Newton, and linebacker Luke Kuechly. I mean, this is a very powerful tandem right there. This is a team that could really, they could challenge for the division title this year. You look at Dallas, their receiving corps is revamped. Running back Ezekiel Elliott likely will play the full season. It seems like the team runs with him because they were 3-3 last season without him. During that time, he was suspended. Their record is like 19-7 with him in the lineup. So I think when you look at Dallas, a lot of their success will be predicated on Ezekiel Elliott. And it's nothing against Dak Prescott, but Ezekiel Elliott is that one that really runs that team, and he's the one that's going to really play the integral role in whether they lose or not during the season. That being said, I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas pulls this win out, but I am going to take Carolina at home in this one. I do like them being at home. So anyway, next game. Well, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win at home against the Chicago Bears. You look at Green Bay, and quarterback Aaron Rodgers hopefully will be healthy this season. I like Aaron Rodgers. I'm becoming an Aaron Rodgers fan, even though I'm not a fan of the Green Bay Packers. They have dominated the series against Chicago in recent time. They've taken 8 of 9 from them. And you look at the Bears, and they've also won 4 consecutive against Chicago. Now you look at Chicago, they had a deplorable 2-14 record on the road over the last 2 seasons. They did acquire Khalil Mack, which was really a stunning trade, an acquisition, for Chicago. And their defense really wasn't that bad. Was not that bad last season. Their record may have been, but they were like number 7 in pass defense, number 9 in scoring defense. They might actually make this a competitive game because of their defense, and given the fact it's a divisional game. But I think with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers starting game 1 back for them, Green Bay does not lose many games, as we know, when Aaron Rodgers starts. It will be a home game. It's hard for me to envision a scenario of Chicago going to Green Bay and actually winning. So I am going to take Green Bay to win this one at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to win at home over the New York Jets. Detroit, they have playoff aspirations this season, 9-7 the last 2 seasons. They actually, there's been some knock on Detroit about, maybe not winning the games they should win. But I will say one thing about Detroit. Last season, Detroit was 7-1 versus teams that ultimately finished 500 or worse. So they're good. They generally are going to beat the teams that are like mediocre or below average. They did consistently beat those teams last season. They've also, you look at them as well. You look at the Jets. Now, the Jets will go in there and play this game very hard. Jets are still in reclamation mode. You look at them though. Last season, 5 of those losses they finished 5-11 last season. 5 of those losses were by 7 points or fewer. Head coach Todd Bowles does a really phenomenal job with that team. He gets them motivated to play every single game. They're in a lot of those games you don't think they have any business being in. But that being said, Detroit, I think their offense is going to be too much. You have Matt Stafford and company in their receiving corps is going to be too much for the New York Jets, and especially if the New York Jets start Sam Darnold and they bring him in and asking a rookie to keep his composure and play exceptional on the road in his first regular season game. That's going to be tough. I really believe it's actually going to be Josh McCown, the starter for the Jets. But that being said, I think Detroit, just from a personnel standpoint, is way superior to the New York Jets. Unfortunately, I'm a New York Jets fan, but when you do prediction videos, NFL prediction videos, you have to be objective and make a fair analysis, in which I am. But I do like Detroit to win this one in a tight one. Detroit has had a number of competitive games with the Jets in recent time, and I think this one will actually be close as well. But I do like Detroit to win this one at home. Last but not least, I'm going to take the Rams to win on the road against the Oakland Raiders. Many of you may have heard they signed a defensive tackle, Aaron Donald. I think it was some unprecedented deal, I believe. And you talk about adding defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh to the team. This is going to be a team to be reckoned with. A lot of people are actually picking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl this season. I wouldn't quite be so set to put them in the Super Bowl just yet. I think what's happening is they might be a little bit overhyped. There's still other teams in the NFC, I think, to consider. And really, even though Nick Foles and the Eagles haven't exactly looked superlative during the regular season, you can't count them out. You certainly can't count Dallas or even New Orleans out for that matter. I think there's a number of teams in the NFC that have a legitimate shot, and I don't think it's like the Rams have so much disparity between them and then the other contenders in the NFC as far as from a personnel standpoint. But that being said, the Oakland Raiders did lose Khalil Mack, and their run game, I think, may be a little suspect. They also lost wide receiver Michael Crabtree. I saw something on ESPN where Oakland lost about half, based on the defensive people they lost about half of their sacks that they had last season. In other words, the team players that were responsible for about half of their defensive sacks are now gone. So this team is obviously under John Gruden is being revamped. It's dismantled. He's trying to make some changes. I'm not sure why Khalil Mack was sent off. I don't know if there was some turmoil on that team with him and with Gruden perhaps, or was somebody else there. But, I mean, you get rid of a premier defensive player, something just seems like it could be a little suspicious. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But that being said, Oakland has just, I think, lost too much. And I don't know as far as what they gained to supplant it, if that's going to be enough to defeat the Rams. So I do like the Rams to win this one on the road. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for my picks and analysis of Week 1 of the 2018 NFL season. And until next time, people, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.